By the late 1980s, Vietnam stood at one of the darkest moments in its modern history. After more than a decade of exhausting border conflicts, prolonged military deployment in Cambodia, and severe international sanctions, the country's economy had reached a breaking point. Inflation spiraled out of control. Essential goods were scarce. Daily life became a constant struggle for survival. To Thai strategists observing from Bangkok, Vietnam no longer appeared as the fierce military threat it once had been in 1979. It was no longer a roaring tiger. Instead, it seemed like a wounded giant, exhausted, isolated, and desperately searching for a way forward. Thailand realized something crucial: its long-term strategy had succeeded. Vietnam had been contained, drained, and slowed in the regional development race. At this moment, Thai leaders began to ask a new question. Why continue spending billions on endless border tensions when a far greater opportunity was emerging? Instead of fighting Vietnam, why not transform it into a market, one that would consume Thai products and supply raw materials for Thailand's rapidly growing industrial economy? This shift marked a turning point. Thailand carefully observed the collapse of the socialist bloc, the easing of Cold War tensions, and the approaching end of global isolation for Vietnam. Thai policymakers understood that if they did not act quickly, Western and East Asian corporations would soon flood into Vietnam once sanctions were lifted. Bangkok moved decisively. It invited Vietnamese leaders and Cambodian factions to peace talks, positioning itself not as a proxy battlefield, but as a regional mediator. This diplomatic maneuver elevated Thailand's international status and quietly opened the gates for its businesses to enter Indochina. Behind the scenes, powerful Thai family conglomerates were already preparing. While politicians debated troop withdrawals, economic elites were building informal trade networks, cultivating contacts, and accumulating capital, drawing on experience gained from decades of cooperation with Japan and the United States. They were getting ready for a different kind of campaign. An economic one. By the late 1980s, Thai products began crossing the border into Vietnam. Not weapons. Not smuggled arms. But soap, electronics, motorcycles, and household goods. Items that seemed ordinary elsewhere had become luxury dreams in Vietnam's Ration-era economy. This was the first phase of Thailand's soft invasion. Money was replacing guns. Trade was replacing tanks. However, this transition was not smooth inside Thailand. For more than a decade, the military establishment had built its power and budget on the Vietnam threat. Peace meant shrinking defense budgets and declining political influence. A fierce internal struggle emerged in Bangkok. On one side stood civilian leaders pushing for economic integration. On the other stood military hardliners seeking to preserve confrontation. But history favored capital. Market forces prevailed. Thailand understood that to remain a rising economic dragon, it needed a larger hinterland. Indochina was the perfect backyard. Thus, the idea of Suvarnabhumi, the Golden Peninsula, was revived. Thailand envisioned itself as the financial, logistical, and commercial hub of the Mekong region. Ironically, infrastructure once built with U.S. military aid to contain Vietnam was now used to export Thai goods into Vietnam. Thailand achieved a triple harvest: profits as America's anti-communist ally, profits as China's intermediary, and now, profits from Vietnam's opening. This reflected a deeply pragmatic geopolitical mindset. No permanent enemies. Only permanent interests. By 1989, fear had been transformed into ambition. Yet a new challenge emerged. Thailand did not want Vietnam to become too strong. Nor too weak. A weak Vietnam meant instability. A strong Vietnam meant competition. So Bangkok shifted its focus to agriculture, energy, and resource control, building economic pressure through Laos and Cambodia. A new war had begun. Silent. Bloodless. Relentless. In the early 1990s, travelers along Indochina's borders noticed something strange. The Thai baht was often more trusted than local currencies. In many regions, it functioned as an unofficial reserve currency. Thailand had successfully turned its money into a regional standard. Through finance, it gained influence without firing a shot. Raw materials flowed into Thailand at low prices: timber, gemstones, minerals, agricultural products. Finished industrial goods flowed back, at much higher value. This was a modern form of economic colonialism. Energy became the next target. Bangkok knew that growth without power supply would collapse. It partnered with Laos to build massive hydropower projects, transforming the country into Southeast Asia's battery. Electricity fed Thai factories. Dependence tied Vientiane to Bangkok. In Vietnam, Thai firms quickly entered oil and gas projects during the early reform years. Once again, capital earned from anti-Vietnam policies was now used to purchase Vietnam's own resources. Infrastructure followed. Thailand promoted the East-West and Southern economic corridors. Officially, they were symbols of regional cooperation. In reality, trade routes converged on Bangkok and Thai ports. Thailand positioned itself as the region's gatekeeper. No major flow of goods could bypass its logistics network. From a country fearing encirclement, Thailand became the one doing the encircling. Corporate giants like CP Group and Central Group acted as economic divisions. They built retail chains, controlled distribution, and reshaped agricultural production. Every purchase made by consumers in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia quietly sent profits back to Bangkok. Fear had become dominance. But history never stands still. While Thailand enjoyed its role as economic leader, Vietnam was growing faster than expected. After normalizing relations with the United States and joining ASEAN, Vietnam entered global supply chains. Foreign investors began shifting from Thailand to Vietnam, drawn by young labor, lower costs, rising productivity. The old military fear of 1979 transformed into economic anxiety. Thailand realized it could no longer confine Vietnam to a raw material supplier. A new strategic competition emerged. Bangkok intensified efforts to influence regional standards, trade regulations, and Mekong institutions. The goal was clear: even if Vietnam grew, bottlenecks in technology and distribution must remain under Thai control. The battlefield shifted from borders to balance sheets, from firepower to trade surpluses. Yet Thailand's confidence concealed vulnerabilities. Rapid growth fueled real estate bubbles and massive debt. War-era capital and FDI had inflated fragile structures. Economic arrogance blinded policymakers to systemic risks. In 1997, the Asian financial crisis struck. Thailand collapsed first. Its currency crashed. Banks failed. Capital fled. The Golden Peninsula dream was shaken to its core. For the first time in decades, Thailand was forced to reassess itself, while Vietnam continued rising. The transformation from battlefield to market was never merely about peace. It was about rebuilding power through economic dominance. For 2 decades, Thailand sought to reshape Indochina into its extended market. And for a time, it succeeded. Skyscrapers rose in Bangkok. FDI surged. Elites believed they controlled the Mekong's destiny. But prosperity built on geopolitical privilege and financial excess proved fragile. The 1997 crisis exposed the limits of Thailand's strategy. Vietnam was no longer a passive participant. It was becoming a competitor, a manufacturing hub, a trade power, a regional influencer. The existential threat no longer came in the form of tanks. It came as competition. In supply chains. In investment. In stability. Under ASEAN's cooperative surface, silent rivalries intensified. The struggle for influence continued, without gunfire, but with enormous stakes. Today's balance of power in Southeast Asia still reflects lessons from 1979. Fear can become opportunity. Weakness can become leverage. Markets can become battlefields. Thailand's journey from war to market reshaped Indochina. But the game is far from over. In the 21st century, Vietnam and Thailand are no longer enemies. They are rivals. And their contest, economic, technological, and strategic, has only just begun.